our last podcast on becoming a master student. As always, my students can reach out to me for any queries, questions, or support via email. Everybody else can use the chat and comment function here on YouTube. So here we go. Let's get started. Now, as you can see, I skipped a couple of slides because it doesn't really make sense to go and do these exercises when you are not physically with me and we can discuss any kinds of results. So when we look at how do we go forward with this, we know what goal we want to achieve. And now, after we determined our capabilities, we know the position we are in relatively to those goals. So it is now very easy for us to chart a course from where we are to the goal that we want to achieve. Obviously, life is not smooth sailing all the times. We get a lot of setbacks on the way, and going through this whole process, we understand and can actually replan our journey when there are setbacks and difficulties along the way. But we also need to realize in order to achieve something that we haven't achieved yet, we need to do things that we haven't done yet. We need to go beyond our comfort zone. So when we look at the situation, the comfort zone is on the left where we feel safe and in control of everything, and the growth zone where we achieve our goals, where we live the dream and set new objectives to conquer, is on the far right. And we need to move from our comfort zone through the fear and learning zone to that growth zone in order to be where we want to be. And unfortunately, most people vacillate exactly in this area. So once we are in the fear zone, we lack the self confidence because these are things we haven't done before. We are affected by what other people think of us and our efforts, and we find excuses to explain our lack of achievement. But you haven't done anything yet. How can you have an achievement? That's not possible. If you go through that difficult period, that learning plateau that you have, when you start to build knowledge, when you start to build that foundation that you need to climb up to the next level, we can move forward to the learning zone, deal with those challenges and problems that come on the way. And by that, we are acquiring new skills and extend our comfort zone into new areas. If we do not do that, we just keep falling back to our old habits where we feel safe, where we feel in control, and move back to the comfort zone. That is what most people do. They do not live the dream. When they start dealing with challenges and problems, they start to feel very self conscious, lacking the self confidence, and start finding excuses because it's easier to find excuses, blame everybody else, and go back to our comfort zone than to face up to the fact that, well, we haven't done this yet. We don't have the experience, we don't have the knowledge, we need to learn this. We are probably going to fail a lot. And what people do not realize is that no one was born with the skill set they have today. They have acquired this through a lot of try and error. So we need to look at continuing that journey and to really learn through our experience to grow. Don't go in the circle of failure. Don't resist that change. If you stay in that bubble, in that comfort zone, nothing will happen. You will not move forward, but the world will, and the world will then eventually leave you behind. So, what we need to do is we need to step up and grow with the challenge. When we are in our comfort zone, our performance is very weak. and our excitement about doing things is usually very low. When we are in the learning zone, that kind of arousal is starting to grow and our performance is the strongest. When we move into the danger zone, further and further out from our comfort zone and from the things that we know, the arousal is starting to drop as well as the performance. So the arousal is still higher than in our comfort zone, but at some point when we are dealing with continued failure, that arousal is dropping as well. So that graph is a bit, yeah, misleading in some ways, but you can certainly relate to the fact that when you are too far out of your usual comfort zone, your usual area, it may be exciting at first, but realizing you have absolutely no chance to compete at that level, your interest in performing at that level will start to reduce. Now, but how do we remove that comfort zone? We need to look at change management theory and remove that comfort zone. We need to start not having any kind of excuses. We need to look at acquiring these new skills that we need. We need to be persistent in our actions in order to develop the experience and skills to perform at a higher level. So stop giving yourself excuses. Don't be affected by others' opinions when you start a new venture, and don't look at the fact that you are not performing at the top end level in something new. Look at the fact that you are new to that certain challenge. You need to get acquainted with the challenge and learn, learn, learn. How can we do that? How can we break this barrier of not wanting to have change? Start with a small change. For example, getting up a little earlier than usual. Do something in the morning. Start to exercise. A lot of people experience when they start to physically exercise, their capacity in terms of intellectual achievement starts to grow as well. Don't finish tasks in the evening, keep them for the morning and finish them first thing in the morning to give you a sense of accomplishment that will boost your productivity throughout the day. Employ a very strict time management. Distinguish between tasks that are important and tasks that are urgent. Employ the 80-20 rule, as in 20% of the right effort will give you 80% of the result already. And remove disturbances. One of the biggest disturbances is mobile devices these days. These devices are designed to disturb, to catch your attention, but paying attention to your mobile device and whatever is going on there is not building any skills that you perhaps want to learn. And that cost benefit analysis of what is in there for me, short-term gratification, watching a video on my favorite social media, or going out, having a chat with friends, going on drinking sessions, doing any kind of thing but put my head in my book and learn something, do an exercise, ask questions, go to lectures, ask those questions. This cost benefit can obviously also include the people that surround you, saying that, okay, this group of my students, they are goofing off too much. They are not really focused on learning. I rather stick with that group that is very focused on learning. So at the end of the day, all these choices are yours to make. Nobody can make them for you, but also the consequences are for you. One of the problems with conscious cost benefit analysis is that it gives us the opportunity to find excuses. The yeah, but kind conversations we have with ourselves to justify a certain action that we know we shouldn't be engaging in, rather doing something else. And that shows that you are still extrinsically motivated. The motivation comes from outside, and that decisions in your life are still governed and made by other people. When you have moved to the stage of subconscious cost benefit analysis, we can argue that the motivation to perform better is coming genuinely from inside yourself. You are doing these things in order to become a better you. You want to be better tomorrow than what you are today. This is called self actualization. You want to exceed your previous performance and grow as a person. And that means the ultimate decision maker in everything is you. So when we start staying in control outside our comfort zone, that means we are set up for what is called lifelong learning. And one thing that you will continuously hear throughout your study, throughout your early life as a professional, is the mantra that we need to continue learning all our life. And at some point, you either play catch up with people that have done learning outside of the classroom, or you realize, well, I am learning new things every day without even noticing. It is easy to see which is easier for you and which one is bringing you closer to your growth zone. Thank you very much for the attention, and I will see you all on the next video.